Have you ever wondered if you're breaking your cat's heart without even realizing it? Even the most loving cat parents make small mistakes that leave their cats feeling lonely or unseen. Here are 10 subtle ways you might be hurting your cat and how to fix them. Number 1. Ignoring their silent pleas for attention. Cats are masters of subtlety. They don't leap into your lap and demand affection the way a dog might. Instead, they communicate in whispers, soft blinks, gentle tail flicks, the quiet patting of paws as they approach and pause just close enough for you to notice. These are not random movements. They're carefully chosen signals in the delicate and nuanced language of feline communication. Every small gesture carries meaning. A slow, graceful tail wave isn't just a flick, it's often a soft greeting. A quiet presence in the same room isn't just coincidence. It's an invitation, a way of saying, "I want to be with you," even if we're just sitting in silence together. When your cat sits near you, not on you, just near, they're offering companionship on their terms. It's their way of saying, "I want to share your space without overwhelming you." Cats respect personal boundaries, both yours and their own. So this subtle closeness is a quiet but intentional show of affection. And when they give you that famous slow blink, it's more than a sleepy motion. It's actually a gesture of trust and warmth. Researchers even call it the cat smile, a nonverbal way of saying, "I feel safe with you. I like being with you." It's an intimate little exchange that means more than words ever could in their silent world. But when you're distracted, lost in your phone, deep in thought, or rushing from one task to the next, you might miss these gentle cues. To you, they're just sitting there, seemingly passive, not demanding anything. But to them, it's a moment of connection that quietly slipped through your fingers. When this happens over and over, when their small, patient attempts to bond go unnoticed, it can change them. Over time, a cat who feels repeatedly overlooked can become more withdrawn, more distant, less willing to try again. They learn that their efforts to connect with you don't lead anywhere, so they stop trying, not out of anger, but out of quiet resignation. The fix? Notice the small things. Learn their subtle language. When they offer you that slow blink, take a second to slow blink back. It's the feline version of saying, "I trust you too." When they come near, acknowledge them, even if you don't pick them up. Talk softly when they approach you. Let your voice be a gentle reassurance. Even just turning your head and meeting their gaze with a smile or a word tells them, "I see you. You matter to me." These tiny moments of recognition may seem small to you, but to your cat, they're everything. They're the building blocks of trust and connection, the proof that their silent pleas for attention aren't falling on deaf ears. Number 2. Punishing them for being a cat. A shredded sofa, a knocked over water glass, a sudden sprint across your bed at 3 a.m. It's easy, almost reflexive, to see these behaviors as bad. To us, they look like deliberate mischief, like the cat is purposefully making a mess or acting out. But in the feline mind, they're not bad at all. They're instinctual, hardwired behaviors that have kept cats alive for thousands of years. What we interpret as defiance is, in reality, simply a cat being a cat. Scratching, for example, isn't an act of rebellion. It's how they maintain the health of their claws, shed the dull outer layers, stretch their muscles, and leave both visual and scent markers behind. Those scent glands in their paws aren't just random. They're their way of claiming a space as safe, familiar, theirs. Knocking objects from shelves? That's not spite. It's curiosity and playfulness. It's part of their hunting behavior, testing if something moves, if it reacts, if it's prey. A cat's mind is wired to experiment with its environment, to tap, swat, and watch what happens next. And those infamous midnight zoom eyes? That's simply biology. Cats are crepuscular, wired for bursts of intense activity in the dawn and dusk hours. When your cat suddenly sprints through the house like a tiny wild animal at 3 a.m., they're burning off pent-up energy in the only way their body knows how. But here's where things go wrong. When you yell, spray them with water, or physically punish them, you don't teach them what's wrong. Cats don't make the same cause and effect connections that humans or even dogs do. They don't think, "I scratched the couch. Now I'm being yelled at because scratching the couch is bad." Instead, they only learn that you are unpredictable, that your anger comes suddenly and without warning, and that you can't be trusted when you're upset. What you see as discipline, they experience as fear. Over time, That fear can damage your bond, making them anxious, skittish, or even more destructive out of stress. So what's the better way? Instead of punishment, redirect. Work with their instincts rather than against them. Give them appropriate scratching posts, ideally ones wrapped in sturdy sisal rope that feels satisfying under their claws. Place them in spots they're naturally drawn to, near their favorite resting places or along pathways they often travel. Create vertical spaces like cat trees or shelves where they can climb and perch, giving them a healthy outlet for their need to explore heights. Offer interactive toys that mimic the hunt, a feather wand that flutters like a bird, a toy mouse that skitters like prey. And most importantly, praise them when they use these outlets. Reinforce the good choices, reward the behaviors you do want to see. When you take the time to understand why your cat does what they do, you stop seeing them as misbehaving and start seeing them as communicating. You replace punishment with solutions, frustration with empathy. And in doing so, you build trust instead of fear, creating a home where your cat feels safe enough to simply be a cat. Number 3. Forgetting the power of routine. Cats are creatures of ritual. Their lives are built around predictability, because in their world, predictability equals safety. In the wild, routines aren't just comforting, they're essential for survival. A cat learns to hunt at dawn and dusk, to rest when it's safest, to stick to familiar paths and known hiding spots to avoid predators. Even though your indoor cat doesn't face those same dangers, that deep instinct for order and consistency is still written into their DNA. To them, stability is not just preferred, it's necessary. So when you change their schedule, when feeding times are delayed, play sessions become irregular, or your presence becomes unpredictable, it's not just a small inconvenience. It's disorienting. Their internal rhythm, the one that tells them this is how the day flows, this is what I can expect, is disrupted. And with that disruption comes a subtle but real sense of unease. Suddenly, the safe, predictable world they rely on feels uncertain. The effects of that stress often show up in ways we dismiss or misunderstand. A cat who starts refusing food might not be picky, they could be anxious. Over-grooming, sometimes to the point of creating bald patches, can be their way of self-soothing when they feel unsettled. Hiding more than usual or avoiding certain rooms can signal they're feeling insecure. And one of the most misunderstood signs, urinating outside the litter box, can actually be a stress response triggered by changes that seem minor to us. Moving furniture, changing the brand of litter, altering your work schedule, or even just being away longer than usual. That's why maintaining a stable routine is so powerful for a cat's emotional well-being. Feeding at the same times every day creates a rhythm they can depend on. Cleaning the litter box regularly reassures them that their space is safe and cared for. Keeping play sessions consistent not only helps them burn off energy, but also builds a sense of connection and reliability. Even something as simple as greeting them the same way when you come home can become a comforting ritual they look forward to. In a safe, predictable environment, a cat can truly relax. They don't have to stay on edge, waiting for the next sudden change. Instead, they can settle into their space, knowing what to expect and when. And when a cat feels that level of security, you see it in their behavior. They lounge more, play more freely, sleep deeply, and seek out your company with confidence. Routine may seem small to us, but to a cat, it's the foundation of trust, peace, and comfort in their world. Number 4. Overlooking their emotional intelligence. Cats may have a reputation for being aloof and fiercely independent, but beneath that calm exterior, they are remarkably attuned to the emotional atmosphere around them, especially yours. They are far more observant than most people realize, reading subtle cues that reveal your state of mind. Studies have shown that cats can recognize human moods by analyzing facial expressions, listening to changes in your tone of voice, and even detecting shifts in your scent caused by stress hormones. To them, you're not just a provider, you're part of their social world, and they notice when something feels off. When you're sad, they sometimes draw closer, offering quiet companionship without demanding anything in return. You might find them sitting beside you, brushing against your leg, or curling up in your lap as if to ground you in their steady, comforting presence. When you're anxious or restless, they may mirror your tension, keeping their distance, pacing more, or watching you with cautious eyes. And in their own subtle way, they sometimes try to comfort you, a soft head, but a gentle purr, a slow blink that says, I'm here with you, even if I can't fix what's wrong. But when you're too absorbed in your own turmoil to notice them, when you become emotionally closed off, they don't fully understand why you're different. All they know is that the person they trust feels distant. They can sense the change, but can't make sense of it. And if this happens repeatedly, if their small, careful attempts to connect are ignored again and again, they may eventually pull back too. A cat who once offered quiet support can become emotionally withdrawn, matching the energy you show them. Even on your hardest days, when you feel like you have nothing left to give, acknowledging them with a soft word or a gentle glance can make a difference. A slow blink in return for theirs, a quiet stroke of your hand along their fur. It tells them they're still seen, still valued. Because to them, you're not just a part of the furniture in their territory. You're their person, their quiet companion, and they feel more than you think. By recognizing their emotional intelligence, you strengthen a bond built not only on care, but on mutual understanding. Number 5. Touching them on your terms, not theirs. You see their soft, exposed belly and can't resist reaching out. It looks like an open invitation, a moment of pure vulnerability that seems to beg for a gentle rub. But most cats aren't showing their belly as a request for touch. They're showing trust. In feline language, exposing their stomach, where all their vital organs are, is the ultimate gesture of feeling safe in your presence. It's a silent statement that says, I know you won't hurt me. But the moment you reach out and touch it without their permission, that trust can fracture. For many cats, a hand on their belly feels invasive, even threatening, and you'll often get a swift swat or bite as their reflexive way of saying, that wasn't okay. Similarly, many cats don't like being picked up. While it feels natural for us to scoop them up for cuddles, to them, it removes their sense of control over their own body. In nature, the only times a cat is lifted are when they're prey in the grasp of a predator, or when they're a small kitten being carried by their mother. Both situations are tied to instincts of survival and vulnerability. So when you lift an adult cat for your comfort, thinking it's affectionate, they may actually feel stress rather than love. They might tolerate it for a few seconds, but inside, they're counting the moments until their feet are safely back on the ground. The key is consent. Cats value autonomy deeply. They want affection on their terms, not yours. Pay attention to their signals. Leaning in, nudging your hand, or softly bunting their head against you means yes, more of this. A flicking tail, flattened ears, or a stiffening body means no, I need space. Respecting these boundaries doesn't make you distant, it makes you trustworthy. When a cat learns that you listen to their signals, that you won't force unwanted touch or handling, they feel more secure. And in that security, they'll naturally seek more affection, choosing to come closer because they know it's safe. So instead of reaching for them when you want contact, let them come to you. Sit quietly, offer your hand gently, and allow them to decide. When you respect their body and their choices, you build a deeper, more meaningful bond. And the beautiful irony is that the more you give them control, the more freely they'll offer you their love, on their own terms, in their own time. Number 6. Leaving them in boredom and silence. A cat's brain is wired for stimulation. They are natural hunters, explorers, and problem solvers, creatures designed to stalk prey, navigate intricate environments, and stay constantly alert to the world around them. In the wild, their days are filled with mental and physical challenges, tracking scents, climbing trees, testing hiding spots, and reacting to the smallest rustle of movement. But indoors, without enrichment, their world can become unbearably small. What feels peaceful and quiet to us can feel empty and lifeless to them, stripping away the activities their instincts crave. Boredom in cats isn't just nothing to do. It's a deep lack of engagement that slowly eats away at their mental well-being. Over time, this void can lead to behaviors that look puzzling or problematic to us. Some cats respond by overeating, not out of hunger, but because food becomes the only stimulation they have left. Others overgroom obsessively, licking themselves until bald patches appear as a way to soothe the stress of monotony. And some lash out with aggression, swatting or biting seemingly out of nowhere, when in reality it's their pent-up hunting energy desperately searching for an outlet. This isn't bad behavior, it's an unfulfilled need. The good news is that enrichment doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. A A simple window perch can transform their view, giving them a moving landscape of birds, leaves, and sunlight to watch, engaging their curiosity for hours. Puzzle feeders or treat-dispensing toys can make mealtime interactive, mimicking the satisfaction of working for a meal like they would in the wild. Rotating toys keeps their environment fresh and exciting, preventing them from losing interest in the same old objects. Adding climbing shelves or a cat tree creates vertical space to explore, giving them both exercise and a sense of territory. Even something as simple as hiding a few treats around the house can turn an ordinary day into a little scavenger hunt. A bored cat is a sad cat, and that sadness often shows itself in ways we misinterpret as misbehavior. But a stimulated cat, a cat who has things to chase, watch, climb, and discover, is a happy, healthier one. By enriching their environment and feeding their natural instincts, you're not just preventing boredom, you're giving them a richer, fuller life. And in return, you'll see a cat who's calmer, more confident, and more deeply bonded to you because their world finally feels alive. Number 7. Forgetting they're not immortal. Cats are masters of hiding pain. It's an ancient survival instinct. Out in the wild, showing weakness could make them an easy target for predators or cause them to lose status among other animals. So even when they're hurting, they stay quiet, masking discomfort behind calm eyes and subtle behaviors. But this remarkable ability to hide suffering becomes dangerous in a domestic setting because it means you often won't see illness until it's advanced, when the damage is already done. Arthritis, dental disease, kidney issues, thyroid imbalances, these are all common in cats, especially as they age, and they're often silent killers. The earliest signs are small, so subtle that they're easy to miss if you're not looking closely. Maybe they're jumping a little less onto their favorite perch. Maybe they're grooming a little less, leaving their coat looking slightly dull or matted. Maybe they're sleeping more, but in unusual spots they never used before. They might lose weight so gradually you don't notice at first, or they might start drinking more water without you realizing it's a symptom. Many owners dismiss these changes as just getting older, a natural slowing down with age. But often, those tiny changes are quiet cries for help. And because cats can't tell you when something's wrong, it falls on you to notice. Regular vet visits, even when they seem perfectly healthy, are one of the best ways to catch problems early, before they become serious, painful, or even life-threatening. Preventative care like dental cleanings, blood work, and routine checkups can reveal hidden issues that you'd never see on your own. A few simple tests can give you answers, and early treatment can give your cat years of extra comfort and quality of life. Loving them means more than cuddles, playtime, and treats. It means being their advocate when they can't speak for themselves. It means paying attention to the little changes, trusting your instincts when something feels off, and giving them the care they need before it's too late. Because as much as we'd like to believe they'll be with us forever, they're not immortal. But with your vigilance and care, you can make the time you share not only longer, but healthier, happier, and filled with love. Number 8. Dismissing their fear. Fear is a powerful, primal emotion for a cat. It's woven into their instincts, a survival mechanism that has kept their species alive for thousands of years. To you, the vacuum cleaner is just a noisy household appliance. To them, it's an unpredictable monster that roars across the floor, chasing away their sense of security. A trip to the vet? For you, it's necessary care. For them, it feels like being abducted into a strange, frightening world filled with unfamiliar smells, loud sounds, and handling they can't escape. Even something as small as a sudden loud noise, a new piece of furniture, or a stranger in the house can trigger that deep, instinctual fear. When we laugh at their fear, brushing it off as cute or silly, we invalidate their very real feelings. When we force them through fearful experiences without comfort or preparation, we risk breaking the fragile thread of trust they have in us. A scared cat doesn't logically separate what scared them from who was there when it happened. They don't remember the vacuum or the vet visit. They remember how they felt, and whether you made them feel safe or left them feeling helpless. The solution is empathy. Acknowledge their fear is real, even if you don't fully understand it. Give them safe hiding places during storms or noisy moments so they can retreat and feel protected. Make their carrier a normal, comforting part of the home environment. Leave it out, lined with soft bedding and treats, so it's not just a signal of impending stress. Speak softly when they're anxious, move slowly, and let your calm presence reassure them. Reward calm behavior with gentle praise or a favorite treat. By showing them that even in the scary moments, you are safe, you become their anchor in a world that can sometimes feel overwhelming. Over time, this patience builds trust instead of fear. They learn that no matter what frightens them, you'll be there, not to dismiss their feelings, but to guide them through it with understanding and care. Number 9. Thinking they don't miss you. People love to say cats are independent, that they're solitary creatures who don't care whether you're home or not. But that's a myth, an oversimplification that ignores the depth of the bonds cats form with their humans. They may express it differently than dogs, without the frantic wagging tails or dramatic greetings, but make no mistake, cats care deeply. They notice your presence, your absence, and the rhythm of your shared life more than you might realize. When you're gone, some cats quietly wait by the door, watching and listening for the sound of your return. Others curl up on the spot where you last sat, drawn to the faint trace of your scent that lingers in the cushions. Some will eat less or play less, their routine dulled by the subtle ache of missing their favorite person. And then there are the cats who seem aloof when you finally come home, turning their head or walking away as if they don't care. But that distant reaction isn't indifference. It's their quiet way of processing your absence. They missed you. They felt the disruption in their world, but in true feline fashion, they handle it with a reserved dignity. If you're gone for long periods, there are ways to ease that loneliness. Leaving familiar scents around, like a worn shirt or blanket, can be comforting, a little reminder of you in their space. Interactive feeders, puzzle toys, and window perches can keep their mind engaged, breaking up the long stretches of solitude. If you travel often, a consistent pet sitter they trust is better than a revolving door of strangers. The familiarity of a known caretaker reduces stress and helps them feel safe. Because while cats can survive without you, they don't truly thrive without you. Your presence brings them stability, comfort, and connection. You are part of their world, their territory, their family. And even if they don't show it in obvious ways, they feel your absence. Recognizing that truth and making small efforts to show them they're never forgotten means more to them than you'll ever know. Number 10. Forgetting that love, for them, is quiet. Cats won't always show love the way you expect. They may not leap into your arms, lick your face endlessly, or smother you with obvious affection the way a dog might. Instead, they love in whispers, soft, understated gestures that you have to learn to notice. Their love is woven into the quiet rhythms of your life together, subtle but deeply sincere. They sit near you, not necessarily on you, because for them, love isn't about overwhelming closeness, but about sharing space peacefully. Simply being in the same room is their way of saying, I want to be with you, even if I don't need constant contact. They follow you from room to room, not to bother you, but because you're their person, their anchor, and they feel comforted keeping you in sight. When they bring you gifts, whether it's a toy they treasure, a crumpled piece of paper they've been batting around, or even something unpleasant from outside, it's their way of caring for you, of showing you they're willing to share what matters to them the way they would with their family in the wild. And sometimes their love is even quieter than that. It's in the slow blink they give you across the room, the way their tail softly curls around your leg as they walk by, or the way they stretch out fully and relax in your presence, showing trust without a single sound. It's easy to overlook these moments if you expect grand, dramatic displays of affection. But for a cat, love isn't loud. It's gentle, patient, and deeply personal. If you expect them to love like a dog, you'll miss these small but powerful gestures. Cats love deeply, but they love quietly. You just have to slow down and learn to listen, to see the closeness in their stillness, the trust in their quiet gaze, and the depth of their affection in the simplest of moments. Because in the end, the most heartbreaking thing for a cat isn't a scratched sofa or a missed meal. It's the feeling that their quiet love went unseen. Take a moment today, look into their eyes, blink slowly, and remind them that you see them truly.